Yes, people, and as we did say, we are going to be back with part two. So here we are, part two in regards to weed.
But listen, let's stop talking about why we were actually supposed to get in the studio today.
Oh, mate.
So yeah, obviously, one of the episodes that we got into beforehand was we was talking about obesity. I use air quotes, and I think what we touched upon beforehand as well was weed usage. For example, how can we have an episode talking about weight, but for example, our vice is we smoke weed. So we say, you know what, let's fucking talk about smoking weed, innit? So that's why we're here.
I'm feeling a bit of regret bringing Rams on today. She seems like she's on smoke. So I'm not even sure I want... you see what I did there? But I'm not even sure I want to have this conversation today. She looks like she's on stuff.
That was a dad joke.
Aye, oh man. Alright, fuck it, let's do it anyway.
Yeah,
Man said dad joke, you know.
No, I'm not a hater, so like I think I'll start off by saying if I was to say I smoked, I would say I smoked maybe like once in a blue moon. So like I would have 2 puffs of a spliff if someone was putting me under duress, which occasionally it happens, or I might have an Eddie or something like that. When I'm in Jamaica, I'm more likely to smoke there because I'm on holiday, and you know.
I thought you was like against.
No. Like I'm not against it. However, for me, the whole it's a wake and bake everyday part of my lifestyle. It's a no from me. It might just be because I haven't got the tolerance, but quite frankly, I don't want it. I ain't got the coin to be spending every day. I can't justify it. People who smoke in general, I cannot justify because I just feel like it's a waste of money. Like I'd prefer to spend that money on something that I feel like is going to add value to my life, not kill me slowly every day. However, with weed, I can understand there's might be some health benefits. It can help you like chillax and all sorts, but also in the kind of
is that not adding value to your life?
Hella value to
However, I feel like there are lots of people I see have adverse reactions to weed smoking.
Yes.
That I feel like it's not set in stone that it's going to add value. For a lot of, like, I work with young people who weed has turned them to, like, psychosis, and they've had mental health breakdowns, and they end up being sectioned because they smoked a spliff and it got laced or something like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the onus is solely on weed, but it happens enough of the times that I think, is it really worth it? And if it's not something that guaranteed is going to be like, yay, I'm going to smoke this, I'm going to feel great, I'm going to get up and do what I need to do, then why are you doing it? A lot of people can't find the balance, or it just doesn't do that for them. So what's the point?
Some people get up and have coffee every morning and they can't live without that. Well, that's a coincidence, isn't it?
Do you know the funny thing is?
I didn't even know that before, by the way.
The reason why I say I'll have tea every now and then, but I don't like taking caffeine is I don't want that dependency. I don't want to wake up and be like, I can't do work or this or the other without a coffee.
Okay, so I think what I'd stop there and say first of all is I do not have an addictive personality. I could take or leave anything at any given point in life, yeah? Anything.
Even the caffeine?
Even the caffeine. If you told me now, don't drink coffee for the next month and see if you can do it, I could do it. Point blank, period.
Someone said to you that you can never have planting again.
Never have it again. Simple. Fact. Done.
I'm
done.
Dusted.
One.
I was with you on the caffeine.
I can leave anything. I left meat for 2 years and didn't pick it back up because I was like, Like I can drop anything.
Leave it further?
Because, I don't know, it's like it got a bit boring. Like, variety.
That means, your statement's not quite valid on the meat one because you took it back up.
I took it back up, but
through
just
choice,
only like
you missed it?
Only convenience. Like, you know, sometimes you go out.
Was it a mad McDonald's
No.
one? You had nuggets. You was like, yo.
No. You know what? It's mad. I don't even too like McDonald's like that. It's literally by force sometimes. But for me, with the meat thing, it was like you'd go out to dinner and there's one vegetarian option on the menu, and I'm like, oh, this is getting a bit jarring. So out of pure convenience, that's why I picked it back up. But even more times at home, it's only even like recently at home that I'll eat meat like once or twice a week. More times it's fish. I don't really fuck with meat like that. Like, I still don't. Like, I'm very much of them. Like, even you see me now drinking fizzy drink. I would say this is probably my fifth can of fizzy drink or sixth can of fizzy drink in like 4 years. Like, I can literally take anything and leave it. If it's there, I'll drink it.
I need to watch back that other show because I'm sure we put one in.
Yeah, so that was I've had two since in here.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
cool,
so the last.
So we're responsible for like 50%.
Not the last show. The show before that, I had two.
Yeah.
So I had one here and one like 3 shows ago, and I think I've had like one at home.
So you're saying we're bad for you?
Yeah, can't lie.
We're tainting her.
Terrible.
With fizzy drinks.
Bad influence. Even with this one, you go with this one.
Mate, when I don't...
Listen, I remember one time...
this guy drinking ain't easy, you know.
Listen, I remember one time I'm out here, just smoking my ting, get a tap on my shoulder, draw me. I'm looking at what? You rums?
No, okay. Listen, let me tell you something, yeah? We were on a little expedition, on an excursion. I would say there was 22 of us, and I was the only person there who did not smoke.
Literally,
I was the
smoker's dream.
only person who did not smoke. As in, it got to the last night, and I
Don't
thought,
tell
fuck
me
it,
it was convenient.
No, it was convenient. I got to the last night, and I said, fuck it, why not? I'm going to bed anyway. Let me just have...
No, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Even I think from before, she did say, probably last night, I might come... grab a little tip.
Do a little something, but I'm not against it. I'm just not for it either.
Yeah, and do you know what?
Unless it's the last night.
Some of what you said around weed, like, I can't argue with you, like, at all. I do think weed isn't for everybody.
Definitely
But the same way, I don't think alcohol is for everybody. I know everyone sitting here in this room probably knows one person where you're like, oh, I don't want to see them on the alcohol. Like, I just see it as the same thing. And I think...
It's got fire
you know
for
it is.
you, bruv.
I think it's how it's... For me, it's how we're socialised.
I feel it for you. Something's coming.
I know it's coming. That's
Nah,
why...
nothing's
No, this is why I'm just keep talking. I'm going on a monologue now. But no, I think a lot of it and how some people look at weed is kind of how we socialise things. So what we was talking about off camera was when I was on Hinge, you feel as though you always have to mention some shape or form, I smoke weed. Even though it's on my profile, because you just don't know what people will think about it. But I remember I was talking to someone and she was like, I cannot fathom why you would smoke weed. Like, I don't get it. Like, it does not make sense. And I was like, yeah, but I don't understand why, like, some people mash up the alcohol thing. She's like, well, that makes sense though. I was like, think about it. Not really. It's just society has told you that it's more acceptable to do this with alcohol in comparison to weed. And what I was saying is, I don't understand, and this is just how I treat alcohol, right, as well, is I don't understand.
I'm just looking at her.
No. But the thing is, I can't understand people that will, after a long day at work, they'll come home, they'll get that glass of
red wine.
Glass of wine, big, and they'll drink that on their ones. I don't get that. To me, alcohol is something that you drink when you're with people, and it's more of like a social stimulant. So I don't get that. But to me, going home and smoking a spliff and maybe watching a documentary, like, that makes sense. But society has told you doing that with weed is wrong. Alcohol, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
All right,
So if someone was to tell you, yeah, you know, what did you do after work? Just went home, just had a large glass of wine, just watched some Netflix. Most people wouldn't bat an eyelid at that at all. If I told you, yeah, you know, got home, smoked a spliff, watched some Netflix.
What?
But to me, they're kind of in the same
thing.
bracket.
They're comparable.
They're in the same bracket.
I think the thing with alcohol, and it ties up with cigarettes as well, is it's a lot more socially acceptable because...
It's legal.
It's socially acceptable because it's quite, like, it's age old. Like, they've been doing it for a long time, and it's pushed actually socially because it makes the government money, and it will always come
Weed
back
can
to
make the
fuck.
government
No.
lot of money.
It will always come back to fuck Boris But anyway, it comes back to the government making money. They can make more money off taxes from cigarettes and alcohol than they can do from anything else, really and truly. And yeah, they could do with weed. I'm not saying that they couldn't do with weed, but anything that's like, I don't know, like really gives people pleasure. Do you not see that they're a bit anti?
The biggest importer of weed is the fucking British government. That's the maddest thing about it.
Say that again, say?
The biggest importer of weed is the British government. What's her name? Her boyfriend that was part of it. Oh, it slipped me now, man. Oh, what's her name? And her husband is like, he's a big weed importer. Oh man, she was in the news not long ago. I'll get back to it still. Not today, because my mind is blank. She's in the government basically, and her husband works for some company that, yeah, he's known for shipping in the big things, innit?
I feel like there's, with a lot of things, there's a lot of almost like propaganda around it. So like with weed, it has a stigma attached to it because of mostly like, I would say, the communities that's attached to it. Like it doesn't seem as like the social thing for the white boy who goes to Oxford to be smoking weed, even though he does. It's not the way it's pushed in society. There's like an association with it and, I don't know, gangsters and black people. And that means it's not going to be socially acceptable, which is why even if it would make the government tons of money, or even if it would be something that'd be beneficial, even like in terms of the health benefits, do you not see the whole new thing now? All of a sudden, CBD oil and all of that kind of shit, all of a sudden they want to be giving people, it's the same fucking thing. So why are you not allowing people to smoke weed? Because it doesn't feed them. It doesn't feed the masses, the people who they want to support. Like it feeds a minority group, and because of that they're not gonna fund it. Like if you look at Jamaica, for example, their weed, bearing in mind like ask anybody and you associate anything with weed, Jamaica's at the top of that list. Yeah. And it's not until 2018, I want to say, that we legalized weed. And we only legalized it not for our own population but for distribution to the US, because it would make the government money. They didn't care about their own people smoking weed every day because it was benefiting them. It's money. And I feel like if in this country they could see the true benefit and see that actually it's not just the black population or the whatever population, that everybody might want to smoke weed or benefit from weed, then they might start importing it. Then they might start actually distributing it. But they don't look at it like that because right now they attach it to a certain demographic. And I think that's where the issue is.
Do you know the maddest thing is? I can tell you, I would trust someone high off weed way more than I would drunk. And that's the maddest thing. But one is legal and one isn't.
Listen, there's so much judgment that comes with weed, yeah? And don't get me wrong, a lot of it is justified. But I can go back in my life and say, and it was a real eye-opener for me, yeah? Because I've banned for quite a while. Weed's always been my drug. I've never gone outside of that. However, I used to work in a corporate environment. Do you understand? And the way some people used to look at weed and think, how could you, i.e., do this job and be productive, i.e., how are you even doing this with that kind of mentality that you smoke weed? Fair enough. But what I didn't know...
all of them are on coke.
All of them.
Every blood
Listen.
I'm coming in.
Listen, hold on. Because I was often, because I don't really hide it. That's the thing. I'm very honest with it. People that know me know I bun. It's not a thing that I try and hide. It's not something I go about saying I'm proud of either, but it's just not something I hide. Whereas now the Jacks and the Toms and the Bills that I was working with were doing coke. Not only would they do, because my thing is, I'll go home from work and I'll say, look, my job's very high paced. I want to wind down, bun a spliff, yeah? The man that I was working with in a corporate environment, they weren't waiting to get home to do their lines. They were doing lines on the job, like going to the toilet. Oi, Will, we saying, you want a live now? It's like, what's that? I'm just there, none the wiser. Bro, they're going to the toilet and doing coke while at work. Shirt, tie, you would not even look at these boys and think that they're even capable but they will sit there and ask you or question you about your spliff after work and why you do it and all of that stuff. So
and this is where that white privilege angle comes in, because me, like, I'm someone that I just smoke my ting, I go back in the yard and I chill, you know. I keep myself to myself when I buy my ting. But a lot of the people that will judge you, the same people that you said, bare cocaine parties that are work related as well. Like, I keep my ting separate.
That corporate culture.
I'm not trying to come to work parties, bunning bare ting, saying, yo, what? Yeah, Jordan. Nah, I keep it separate. I'm respectful of it.
Even, quickly down to the drinking as well. That's in their culture. On lunch times, on any little opportunity in the corporate world, alcohol is involved as well. Sorry, that's all I wanted to add to that.
And like, it actually reminds me of something that happened a couple of weeks ago. I was at my girl's and I was outside smoking. She lives in Wimbledon, and like, kind of nice area, innit? So I'm smoking, yeah. When I tell you, like, a man emerged from the bushes, like from nowhere, and went to me, how long you been living here?
Right.
Thinking, as I finished, I was inhaling. When I don't live here. And he went, you know when it
Man saying makes sense.
Man's doing this. I'm thinking, so I'm ignoring it now. So I'm trying to smoke my ting and go inside and then have a nap. Like, that's the next motive. I'm still trying to talk to me. He's like, oh no, because I thought you lived here. Like, it's like, nah, my girl lives here. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh yeah, no, I live just over there. Like, okay.
Where's this going, Bob?
Oh, where's this going? Like,
come on, Bob, tell your story, man.
I don't care. You were just being nosy because you saw someone smoking weed, and the first thing you said was, how long, not even high or nothing, how long have you lived here? Like, and what, I'm supposed to be nice to you? Like, allow it, man. And this, for me, this is where a lot of like the white privilege bit comes in, where me, as you said, how it's been portrayed, me smoking weed, I must be a terrible person that does this and that. However, someone that might do cocaine, for example, they're all right.
He only does it on the weekends.
Let me give you an example, yeah. And I feel like this is how like a lot of white people view coke versus weed. Yeah. So you know how like you see white people, they generally eat like chicken breasts, yeah. Okay. And like we eat like the grey meat or the brown meat, however they call it, so the leg and thigh, yeah, because it's, you know, a bit more juicier, blah blah blah. So they view, like, I remember being told by like a white person who actually is part of my family, ironically enough, that the grey meat, so like the leg and the thigh, is poor people food, yeah, and that's why they eat chicken breast, because it's more meaty. Blah, 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 blah. So I feel like the way that they view or compare coke and weed and why they see it in different lights is because they look at weed like the poor people food and as coke as that more slightly elitist.
Sorry, Rams, that makes no sense. Sorry, Rams. Do you know
how bagging the leg and thigh is compared to the breast?
I'm not even using the analogy. I'm getting straight to the crux of it. That don't make no sense.
Nah, they view it like that.
So they would rather spend maybe more money to be hospitalized and have heart than to smoke. Because I know, for example, what weed don't do to me, I don't OD on that shit. Like, weed tells you, bro,
slow down,
go bed.
Yeah.
Don't finish me. Go bed. Come back. Deal with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cocaine don't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't.
But it's definitely viewed as a elite. It's
I hear you, because I mean, in example,
I can hear that.
Weed was
but it also don't make sense
as a hippie drug.
Yeah.
You understand? It was for people that were like, yo, man, a bit spaced out, man, and they weren't fully in control of their thoughts. Whereas cocaine was seen as like I'm saying, an elitist drug that only the higher upper class people did.
The whites and the blue collars.
And if you look at the reasoning behind why they do it, it's always linked to some way in performance to them. It's going to enhance their performance. It's going to make me think straight. It's going to make me do this. In some way, shape or form, it's turned into a positive. Whereas weed was always looked at as a drug that had you more spaced out. Not my rules. I didn't write them, but that's just how it was portrayed.
But then they use dirty notes to snort it though. Like, I don't get it.
But that's again, what you put there is notes though. We're smoking with Rizla. They're using notes to do their drugs.
But this is why they're
chopping it up with cards and shit.
Why do you think that they're so happy?
It's all about money.
The money's plastic. They can smoke. They can snort their shit and it's fine.
It's plastic
because
now.
the money's plastic now. Like, they're alright. Like, they're living life. I don't know. Like, I feel like there is definitely a bit of a disconnect in that, like the way one drug is viewed in comparison to the other. But if you really think about it, like the impacts of cocaine are far more addictive and have worse long-term implications, because I think the way a lot of people view weed is that it's a gateway drug. So they think it's something that helps you to get to the next stage where you'll start with this and it's triggered this addiction and now you want to go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But let's be completely and utterly honest, the addictiveness of weed in comparison to the addictiveness of cocaine are two very fucking different things. Like, I feel like if you take coke, you're a lot more likely to go and do crack and ketamine and all of these, man, than if you were somebody who smoked weed.
I've seen people in the K-hole. People don't do.
You lot ain't listening. The white boys were doing coke at work. You're not hearing me. I was sitting at my desk and two of them would go away and do coke, come back and you'll see white round their nose and they'll be telling each other, clean up, mate. At work, bro.
I could tell you.
I'm there sitting at my desk, like, said, I can't wait to get home and bum my thing to myself in my head. These men are nudging each other like, yo, let's go bathroom now.
Listen to this.
That's crazy.
Listen to this story, yeah.
Fucking crazy.
That someone told me at their one of their old workplaces. It was like proper cocaine party environment. So they had like a work party, and they came along. And a load of the guys were like, listen, you seen us take coke. We need you to take coke now so you know you're with us. So you won't snitch.
Nah.
Look at them like, are you not alright?
Nah.
Like, this is what's going on in some of these parties, bro.
Nah, you want me to be out here on the duress?
You're not trying to have me guilty by association.
I'm saying, yo, I just came for the brandies. I don't know about no cocaine.
No, like, and you're definitely right in that, like, it's pushed in a lot more like corporate environments, a lot more so than people realize. Like, I've worked in places where I thought to myself, nah, you people have got your head screwed on. Yeah, like, this is, you're sensible. I see you every day with your shirt and your jacket on, and then next minute we're at a work do and I'm seeing you snort in the corner. It's always the work.
I've seen CEOs do coke at work dues. The CEOs,
and I'm like, you're moving mad, but it's so normalized.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. That is the key word. It is actually normal in that environment, and like I was saying, like, everything is geared around like alcohol. The drugs maybe come later, but the alcohol is so prevalent in the corporate world, like events, when you're trying to woo clients, it all involves alcohol and it promotes that kind of drinking. And then obviously with the drinking's got to come something else. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
but do you not think that actually that's a really problematic approach to things? Like, if you have to get, if alcohol has to be socialized into the way that we interact with each other,
and
then
decision
making, then are we ever at a point where we're fully like consenting or fully like conscious of the choices that we're making? Because actually in my mind I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to a business meeting and I want to really know what I'm taking on or what decision I'm making, I'm not gonna drink. Like, why would I drink? But I think what also I find funny is most of the time when you go to these work dues or these work events or you're making these connections, how I see people getting done out here. Like, when I say done out, to the point of no return. Like, your face is turning blue because you're that drunk, yeah? And you're telling me you're at a work event. Do you not have any decorum? Like, the last work event I went to, like,
You always hear about
Do I
people
wanna
sleeping
tell
with
this
each other
story?
at them events as
I
well.
wanna tell this-
losing
Oh,
it.
well, we had a festival because I used to work in the charity sector, and them people are wild. But there was like, we do festivals every year, like with work, and there were we all went to Latitude. I think it was 2019. I think I'd say 2019 that year. Went to Latitude. This woman's married, 2 kids, husband. She's, you know, she's a little bit geeky. You always see her in the office with her glasses on, looking all
white
cute and
picket
stuff,
fence.
like white picket fence, all of that vibe. Yeah, we get to Latitude now. Find out that my girl's in an open marriage, and she's
Sex
here on
parties.
smoke. She's
Oh, she came with a partner.
her partner and her kid were there. She cuts
She brought
out.
the kid too.
She cuts out, yeah,
Wild.
and said to her man, "Oh, I'm going here."
Wait, how old was the kid?
Like 5.
That's too
like young.
Nah, that's
We
mad.
went to found some. One of my friends saw one of her friends that she went to university with, some rich boy. They had rented a mansion like 2 minutes walk from where Latitude is. So as in like the only house on this whole fucking green of land, yeah? Get there, there's coke all over the place. These are talking about how they want to just be turning the whole situation into a sex party. Da, 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 da. I said, peace, I'm going home because I'm not about this. Bye.
Wait,
It's not
sorry.
for me.
The kid was still there.
So the kid was
left
back at
the
the
kid
festival
back
with her husband.
with that
yeah?
man.
And she
Oh,
went to go
sorry.
sprawl out. And when I tell you, I'm watching my girl in the corner sniffing this, kissing up that person, and then she ducks off into one corner and she's out there fucking one boy. I'm
saying
sure
hot girls thing.
he was like 22.
Oh, this is allegedly, by the way, yeah?
I'm sure he was like 22, and she's a grown ass motherfucking woman. She's like 35, 36,
Jeez.
yeah?
Mad.
The boys are young, and she's just out here getting dicks down. She was like, oh yeah, like, he's so cute, I like him, blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, guys, this party is going in a direction that I'm not here for. I'll see you
Always
later.
the innocent
And it was
ones, man.
interesting because I was the only black person in that event, and I was the only person who left. Everybody was there. They were living their best life. I heard the rest of the stories the next couple of days afterwards, and I'm there like, oh, rah, swear.
Mad.
Imagine.
Mad.
It's wild. And it be happening all the time. And you're telling me your kid's at a festival 2 minutes down the road and you're there sniffing coke.
Mad.
How are you supposed to be looking after that kid? What, are you going to go back to your
The
husband,
dad is.
wash your vag, and then what, put him to bed?
Boy, I'm assuming she was on annual leave that day or something.
Honestly.
What, from family?
From clearly.
Listen, are we not deep in? She left her 5-year-old with pups
To go and do drugs.
to get D down. To do D and D.
Like, literally.
Drugs and dick.
Mad.
Nah, it's
Oh
mad.
man, wow.
To be fair, at least she left him. I can't lie. Because I feel like there was probably plenty of people in that place with their youths doing drugs. Like, off their fucking face.
Crazy. But back to the weed though, quickly, before we wrap it up.
Yeah, y'all on coke. Stay safe, y'all.
Yeah, stay safe, y'all. Stay safe. But so Dre, do you reckon you'll stop smoking weed? Actually, let's just summarize and wrap it up. Firstly, do you reckon you'll stop? Mm-hmm. And would you let it get in the way of a relationship or love?
Cool. So would I ever stop? Do you know, I've been thinking about this recently. Because I was thinking like, raw. Because you know what? One of my little nephews, I changed his nappy that first time last week. Yeah, come on, bang, bang. Do you know what I thought? I thought, yo, if I'd done this high, it is a mess. Like, you what?
Gonna be wearing a nappy like a sling
Listen,
over the arm.
trust me, saying, yo, what's this? What's this? Why's the nappy on man's head? He's pissing everywhere. So I thought, raw, when I have kids, I'm gonna have to re-look at the consumption. Not that I don't smoke like 10 a day or nothing, but like I'll have to look at, cool, how I smoke will definitely have to change. So where I might have one during the day, I probably wouldn't. It'll just be like maybe a nighttime thing. instead. Would I ever stop? No. Nah, I don't.
Can I ask you a
Smoke
question
weed
off the
every
back?
day.
Yeah,
So
go on.
if
R.I.P.
you won't
Big Dog.
ever stop, is it because you're addicted to it, or is it because you feel like there's benefits to like your mental health, for example, or benefits to your overall health?
I knew she had shit in the bag,
Yo,
man.
what? Why you say health like 3 times?
Trying to wrap this shit up, man.
No, but no,
I knew
what?
she had stuff in the bag, fam.
So you asked, would I not stop because
You're addicted.
Addicted.
Or-
Listen, I think
Listen to the vim.
yeah.
Addicted.
Addicted. Listen, I think if you smoke weed, I think you can't get away from the fact that in some shape or form you are
You're addicted.
I think I don't think I'm heavily addicted. So for example, I know I could go a period of time without weed if I needed to. I can do it. It's calm. I've done it before. But yes, I am addicted. Like, let's be real. What was the next bit of the question?
I was
Sorry.
asking, do you think like the reason you wouldn't stop is because it benefits your mental health, or do you not think that that's a reason why you smoke? Full stop.
So what I would say is, I started smoking, I feel probably maybe later than like a lot of people I know did. Because I know people that are smoking from when we was in secondary school. For me, I made a conscious decision to not smoke and not drink even until I was in my 20s. Literally because from a development point of view. Because I knew what I was doing them times, if I was high or drunk, it's mad. So to me, it didn't make sense to be doing that at the time, especially when you're growing and your mind is still developing in this and the other. And this is where, for example, some of your young ones, where they're having a lot of those challenges. And it's something that I have to talk to with the ones that I mentor, because I don't hide that I bun from them. I know some of them bun. Some of them would be like, yo, when we gonna choose a Ting? I say,
Never.
never. When you're big man, yeah, maybe. But I'll be probably closer to 50 them times anyway. But now, no, of course not. Like, I don't think you should be smoking right now. Like, I know a young one, when we was talking, he's half my age and he smokes more than twice I do. And he smokes stronger shit than I do. And to me, I said, I can't even do what you do now. Like, as a fully developed adult, I can't do that.
So do you not think then it's problematic as people who are seen by young people and influenced by young people, whether or not we like to admit it, whether or not we want to be anybody's parent, but really and truly we're out there, you're on social media, you're in public spaces, you're a mentor, you're this, you're that, and so at the end of the day people see you doing what you're doing. Do you not feel like you have a responsibility to people who come after you to be better role models and show better examples, especially if you're saying that you feel like smoking weed at a young age before you fully developed, which we could argue is up until you're about 21, can have a detrimental impact? This question for both of you. Like, do you not think you should be doing better?
For me, no. And the reason why is because then I wouldn't drink, and the amount of things I would cut myself off from, vice-wise, even reaction-wise, I just have to be a nun, a pope or something. That is not realistic in life. The only thing I can tell these young people is, for example,
Do as I say, not as I do.
just as an example, I can't really get on. I don't want them to, but I can't fully get onto them for doing road at their age. I was doing road at their age. I was doing road harder at their age, to be honest. So I can understand. All I can do is guide. Like, I'm not their parent. And
I was just gonna say,
that's the thing that I have to remind myself a lot. A lot of the times, I want to get them out of danger, but they make their own decisions at the same time.
But isn't it the whole idea of like it takes a village, we are all contributing to society, and so they will continuously look at us as role models whether or not we choose to be, that I'm not saying like don't do it, but isn't there a better way of going about it so that it's not like as public, or so it's not as like, oh guys, look at me, I'm smoking weed, I'm chilling, I've still got a good job, I've still got this, I'm still doing what I'm doing, and I'm going along, you know, fine, but don't do it yet, like wait until you're an adult. Like that message doesn't make sense to me, because
I'd say, I hear where you're coming from. One, I'm not their parent, and all I can do is advise. Do you understand? At the end of the day, I can talk about my negative experiences, I could talk about my positive experiences, but at the end of the day, they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. Now, in terms of me kind of knowing that, you know, regardless of what I say or do, because I remember when I was at that age and people were saying to me, don't smoke. I still did it anyway. You know, regardless of the good advice they gave me, telling me the bad things that could happen, it was always going to be my decision. And I still didn't listen. I'm not saying these kids don't listen to what we're saying, but at the same time, they are still going to make their own decisions at the end of the day.
So isn't that more of a reason to not like legalize weed?
Legalize?
To not legalize weed.
Oh.
Because if you're thinking about, all right, they're going to make whatever decision they're going to make nonetheless, if it's harder for them to acquire, does that not act more so as a deterrent to try and prevent younger people from engaging in smoking weed than legalizing it and
Do you
making
know what it
it
is for me?
access?
Do you know what I'll say?
Go on.
Because that's the main word here is legalized. Like, I go on holiday, I go across the water, and it's legal in certain places. And I see how relaxed it is, the environments, the kids that live in those countries. Like, there's clear rules and regulations set in place.
Do you think the kids that lives in those countries are smoking weed the way our young people smoke weed here?
What do you mean, the way?
Like, as in, do you think that they smoke weed? Do you think that they're accessing the drugs? Do you think that they're doing what we're doing in terms of going behind their parents' back or going on road and doing all this kind of stuff?
The point that I'm trying to make is that when it's been legalized, there's nothing to hide. So, i.e., there's more transparency where parents can say, okay, it gets to this age, you can smoke. Now, when it's illegal and it's branded as a bad thing, that's when I feel as a kid it was more dangerous for me to take that risk. It's like, okay, it's not legal, you know, my parents are gonna find out, and I still went and done it.
So do you think it being illegal makes it more desirable, whereas if you had a more transparent kind of way of going about?
So I think if it was legalized,
because I'm a massive proponent of legalizing drugs, but I want to scale back a little bit to some of what you was asking about, because I definitely appreciate, I'm someone that smokes weed, but I mentor kids, okay, but similar to what Jay was saying, like at the end of the day, I'm not their parent, so what a lot of, I suppose, their parents, close ones might do is tell them no. But I think what a lot of the time adults don't do is they don't.
There's no why?
There's no why, and we don't teach people balance. So even the young one that I was talking to, who smokes more than me, I'd never had a conversation to tell him to stop. I had a conversation just to tell him about some of the harmful effects it can have on him now. And I explained to him why I didn't smoke at his age and why I smoke now. So what I'm actually teaching him is about balance. I'm not just saying don't do drugs. The end. There's no foundation behind that at all. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be a mentor that doesn't tell young ones that I smoke weed, because
you'll be a fake mentor.
One, I'm fake, and secondly, I'm not trying to help guide some of the young ones that I do know smoke weed. So I could talk to them from a place, I don't do it, and try and guide. But if I don't mention that, yeah, I do as well, how do you
relate to that?
Get to that? So I think it's about, for me, it's about teaching them balance. And that's all we ever do when it comes to the mentoring. But yeah, you're right, it does take a village to raise a child, but a lot of that looks like balance. People will always make their own decisions. So if for example, I had many people telling me, get off the roads, don't do it, man. Shut up. Like, just shut up. Like, I ain't got time to listen to you. Shut up.
And more often than not, it's people that have never touched the roads either. So, it's that relatable fact where when I speak to kids or youth or whatever in regards to smoking and them not doing it, I tell them from a negative experience that I've been through in order to try and relate to them at their stage in life where they can maybe say, okay, we're at the same stage where he made that mistake and maybe I should stop now. And again, like Joey said, I'm not talking to them to say stop smoking weed, the end, but it's more about showing them what negativity can come from that. So yeah, and again, even when I do speak to them again, I don't speak about the positives that I may feel, because again, that's very subjective to me and what I get out of it. So I wouldn't even try and transpire that onto a youth saying, yeah, but the positives are you can get relaxed after work. I would never say that, because that's again subjective to my feeling and my relationship with weed, again, over a number of years as well. So yeah, I just try and talk from a real perspective, like this is what happened to me. It could happen to you too. Whatever decision you want to make from there is up to you.
So yeah, and I want to go to the legalizing drugs bit, because I think when it comes to making laws, I think there are laws you should make to definitely deter people from doing something. So things like murder, robbing people, those are things where we'll go to our basic instincts and a lot of people will do it. Laws need to be put in place to just stop people from doing that. But there are also things where you actually need to educate people more than telling them, don't do that or you'll be in trouble. And this is where I think drugs sits. The reason why I don't do, because I've only done weed, I've not done anything else. And the reason why is because I remember from a very young age, I was in year 5 and we had police officers come in with like big briefcase with different examples of drugs. And they told us what each one done, what family of drug they sat in, the effects on you, like from what you would see as positive, but also the physiological and the psychological effects. So when I was hearing what things like cocaine and heroin and that done, I said, "Wow,
it's not for me.
I don't need that to be illegal. I don't want to do that. That is a whole heap of madness." But loads of people still do it. Like, we were talking about cocaine parties earlier on. So we know things like this still happen. So what is the point of what is currently happening? Not much. You know, people are more concerned with looking at the suppliers rather than people that have the demand. Okay? However, if you legalize the drugs, your suppliers that you have a massive problem with automatically go away. And then off the back of that, because the demand won't go, because you've not educated people enough about the adverse effects of drugs. So that demand will always happen when people are put under peer pressure or in a vulnerable state for whatever may happen. They might turn to those drugs. So for me, this is where you legalize drugs. And I think probably the perfect example, I think, is...
Not all drugs.
For me, I think you should. I really think you should. Because if you look at things like Portugal, where they've pretty much, if it's not legalized, it's decriminalized.
Ketamine and heroin and that.
Where you can go to a clinic and they will shoot you up with heroin because it's safer for them to do it.
In a managed environment than
rather
if you're
than
doing it on the streets.
Having loads of junkies out there shooting up, leaving syringes, people stumbling across it. It's just safer to say, come to the clinic, like, you're not gonna stop. So you might as well be in a managed environment where your high isn't as destructive as it could be out there. But I think probably the best example is when you compare our country's relationship with alcohol to other countries. Because where you was talking about, like, how do other kids and that's where I look at other countries and how they treat alcohol. To us, we will drink till we're blue in the face and
can you
throwing
see
up.
something like a heroin calf? Like, so see how you got the calves
Weed
in
calves,
Amsterdam? Can you see like a cafe man and like, yo, pass me the band?
So I'm not saying have heroin cafes.
But that's a way of legalizing it though.
But it's not working in its current form though. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, there are still people that will still go to heroin, and to us, it does not make sense. Why would someone do heroin? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. But people still
and again, it goes back to the why, though.
But people still do it. So
it goes back to the why.
This is the thing. For me, when it comes to drugs, it's less about criminalizing it. It's more about educating people around what it can do to you, is like physically and mentally as well.
I disagree with all drugs, to be honest, because legalizing heroin sounds mad to me. And I know if you ask someone that done heroin about legalizing weed, it might sound mad to them. However, like, I just couldn't see how. And do you know what? Taking into consideration everything you said about like managed and controlled environments, I hear that shit and it actually makes perfect sense to me. But legalizing things like heroin and B and
I think
all of that.
But bro, what? But I don't think, for example, if they legalized it, I don't think people would be saying that's all I needed, and they'll be rushing to, for example, a heroin calf. You're still going to get the same population of people that were doing heroin that will be going there, and it's a safer environment.
I think the problem there is, and as much as I hear what you're saying and I kind of agree with you, I think the problem is a lot of these drugs like crystal meth, ketamine, heroin, whatever it might be, are not really fit for human consumption in any way, shape or form.
Exactly.
And the detrimental impact that has on your body, even from one shot of it, cannot be weighed up with education. You could talk until you're blue in the fucking face. It's still not going to make a difference to the way that fucks you over. Like, there was a study done a few years ago with, I think it was a girl. She was a crystal meth user. And in the space of 3 months of taking crystal meth, I think because it wasn't like properly produced or it wasn't like clean meth or whatever, she went from having like a full mouth of teeth to having none. She went from
3 months.
3 months.
That's
3
bad,
months.
you know.
Full mouth of teeth to having none. She then went from literally being like looking quite healthy. Her hair was dropping out. Her face is looking drawn out.
Look at my
She's
face.
losing weight. All of that kind of stuff.
I'm just saying, yo, I smoke weed. All my teeth are there. Everything
Maybe not meth. Let's take that one off the list.
But I
You
feel
said
like,
all drugs, nigga. You said all drugs. You can't go back now.
I feel like there are enough of them that are too problematic, but it would almost be like saying, we think this one's all right, but this one's not all right. And it comes back to a place of things like cigarettes and alcohol have just as much of a long-term implications on people's health, the NHS, all of these services than something like weed or maybe heroin does. They might even have more of an impact, but those things make the government money, and so they'll continue doing it and continue funding it and feeding into it. Whereas I feel like for them, the rationale of other drugs doesn't make sense because they can't control it as much. And I think there are so many different types of drugs that if you started turning around and making a heroin cafe,
This is what I'm
weed
saying.
cafe, all of these kind of places.
No, I don't want heroin caps. I don't want that.
Then the
I was talking
likelihood
more from a
is-
clinical point of view.
No, I completely hear what you're saying, but the problem
I
with
don't
doing
want heroin
that is
cast people.
It's everywhere you turn, you would have access, whether it's managed access, that would then have an impact on something else, and maybe too much of an impact. And so even if weed is something that's a little bit more chilled, if you start the ball with weed, people are going to be looking at you like, yo, but we want it too. We want our coke calf. Where is that? Why are you legalizing this thing and not our thing? And it just starts this sick cycle of everybody asking for their drugs to be legalized and it not be legalized. The thing that I find funny is the categorization of drugs, because weed went from being a
C to B,
which means that it's now seen as more problematic. But I feel like the only reason why that happened, again, it's a demographic of people who smoke weed. So it's not criminalizing the drug, it's criminalizing the people who use it. So actually, when it was a Cat C drug, it wasn't that big of an issue. You're not going to get...
these dealers are in and out, man. We need them in there longer.
Yeah, and they want it to be... They want it... to be more of a consequence. They want it to impact young black men more so because they want them to feel. Because clearly in their mind they're not hearing. So that's where the issue comes in. And they will never, I will tell you this now, mark this day, whatever day is now, 28th of whatever day, wherever, they will never, and hear it now, they will never legalise weed because it doesn't feed them.
Boo.
And that's me done.
I told you Rams was on fucking crud today. Do you know, I don't even have no more words, man. And do you know what? The maddest thing is I disagree with that last statement as well. I think I have high hopes that one day they're going to legalise the thing in the UK, especially, because I hate it when I just go abroad and I can just walk down the street and smoke a spliff. It pisses me off. Then I come here and I'm like, who's watching me, like, feeling proper on edge. So yeah, fuck all of that. Legalise the thing. Yeah. What more do we want to say? Anything? I did ask another question, but
Shit,
Oh,
what's the
did we
question?
miss it?
yeah, you missed it. Would you let it get in the way of love? Would you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry. Yeah. To just answer that quickly, my consumption get in the way of love.
Yeah, so you
Or-
found you met
If a
the
girl
love of
said,
your
"Yo,
life."
if
Yeah.
like you thought you met your
Queen.
queen,"
And she's like, nah, this weed is
and she was like, "Yo, like I'm yours, but that bunning thing, me nah mind that." What are you saying?
and
I'd
you,
walk away.
From her?
Yeah.
Or the weed?
Huh.
Okay.
so you would let it get in the way of love.
My fucking G! Hey, there's more girls out there, man. She don't know if she's the queen, fam.
Oh my god.
Do you know what?
Just dismiss her and bill a thing. Say,
Nah, do you
yo,
know what
next
it
one
is?
will come.
You know what it is?
still.
I think surface level. Do you know what? Surface level, it sounds like that. But
It
for
does.
me, this is just a part of me, innit? So.
So what if you
It's
don't?
not-
If you don't love weed, you don't love me.
No. Because it's not for me.
I'm
it's,
spinning it.
no, for
I'm
me,
saying, what? Are you letting weed get in the way of love?
Nah, because for me,
Seeing.
do you know what it is? For me, I'm not a bundle package where you say, yeah, let's take that out and this and boom, boom. So even, for example, it's just like...
But weed
yeah,
is
you're-
not part of you.
No, but for example, she's like, yeah, your drip's a bit mad. I'll be like, cool, bye. Like, this is a part of
Safe.
me, innit? Like, this is what I do.
My
So
fucking
if it
G.
ain't popping, then I guess we're not compatible.
But
innit?
how is drip? How is weed a part of you? It's not a part of you.
All right, what if
it's
I
not
told
a part
you,
of your identity?
and I'm not saying this is facts, but what if I told you, like, it has an effect on my personality? So the person that you like, yeah, this laughy, jovial person, that's because of the weed. What are you saying? And like I said,
'cause
I
for me,
will
it's
flip
the
the
same-
question.
Listen, no,
I'm
Rams,
flipping in
it's the same
I'm
thing.
telling her, what, are you gonna let this weed get in the way of your king? Like, I could
Yeah.
be your guy, and you're telling me this little bird of green is stopping you from moving forward with your life?
Uno reverse card.
Ciao.
No, because I look at it the same way. It's like someone saying, listen, you're good, but I need you to stop eating meat or no more alcohol. I'm saying, raw. I don't know about it.
There's vegan girls on that.
I just look at it the same way.
Vegan girls are on that.
I don't know. Like, obviously, like I said, I'm not a weed head. It's not my personality trait. But at the same time, I hear what you're saying only because I think for me, if I was dating someone and I felt like weed was getting in the way of even just us being able to like live our life like normal, like we can't go anywhere because you're I need to roll my spliff. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
then
gonna
he's
say,
a waste man.
guys,
He's
like,
a waste man.
like, you're just
But
here and we want to go out, but you're smoking your spliff and now you're slumped and you're talking about, oh, I've got the munchies, I want to stay home and eat. Like,
So
all
I'll be
of
like,
that
let's
shit,
go out
fuck
to
that.
eat.
Yeah, and the real thing is, the reason why I'm saying I would walk away is because my smoking don't look like that. So that's why I'd look at that like, raw.
That's a you thing.
Yeah, if for example, I ban a ting and we're supposed to go out and I'm like, oh, babe, can we do that tomorrow? Like, if
Yeah.
my smoking looks
I
like that,
could hold myself
then,
accountable
Yeah,
for
I would
that.
understand that, but it doesn't. So if they're asking that of me, it's like, yeah, bye.
And that's the thing as well, is that, see, you're saying that about bunning a spliff and being slumped. What if I'm not that guy? What if I can bun a spliff and I'm like, babes, where we going?
Yeah, that's
Listen,
fair. Like,
you see me ban a ting on mountains and come back down.
yeah, like, honestly, like, I each to their own. Like, I've dated many a weed smokers. I don't think I would do it again.
Oh.
Not because I have an issue with weed. I think
Would
it's
you date
just...
someone that smokes cigarettes?
So, this is an interesting topic you bring up. So,
Oh.
I feel like I would class myself as a social smoker. Yeah? Social smoker.
Cigarettes or weed? Both. Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like in the right situation, given the right circumstances, a little bit of alcohol in my system, I might, have a little one here and there. Yeah. And so I don't necessarily have an issue with people smoking because I would be a hypocrite if I did, because I occasionally would. However, I don't like the dependency on cigarettes. And the reason why I don't like the dependency on cigarettes is, A, it's not cost effective. Again, coming back to the mullah, I think it's a waste of fucking money. And B, there's nothing I hate more than, you're on a night out, you're enjoying yourself, you're up in the club, and then your babes wants to go to the smoking area to stand out in the fucking rain so that they can smoke a cigarette. I ain't got time for that shit.
So you wouldn't date a weed smoker, but you'd date a cigarette smoker?
No. So what I'm saying is, either, if that's what you're on, if I cannot stay in the club and enjoy myself because you want to stay. No, if I want to stay, but you want me to come with you to stand in the smoking area.
I'm the smoker, innit? I'm the smoker.
I'll
I'm
say
not
I'll
pulling
find
you
you
outside.
later, innit?
And I feel like for me, weed is a lot less impactful than cigarettes, in the sense that weed doesn't linger in your clothes. If you've got a mint in your mouth, it doesn't necessarily linger in your mouth.
At work.
Or you can't go for weed breaks at work. It's a little bit more structured. Whereas people who smoke cigarettes, it's all day, every day. Your hand stinks, your mouth stinks, your car stinks, your whatever stinks.
I've done weed. I hate
stand
cigarettes. No.
Like, I just think, and it's if you're a 20 a day person or even a fucking 10 a day person, it's like there's no getting away from it. Like, I don't mind having one or two once in a while, you're in a social setting. But if it's you're leaving your house to go outside and stand in the cold in this winter to smoke cigarettes, I don't understand. Like, cut it out.
Fair enough.
So that's me.
And Rams has spoken. Fair. Well, yeah, I wouldn't sacrifice love for weed. So yeah, I'm gonna smoke. So if she wants to make that choice, that's up to her. So like I said, I'll reverse it. You now have a choice to make, not me. Moving forward, yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I think we've definitely covered a lot today.
Yeah, most definitely.
So much love for Rams coming back on again.
Thanks, guys.
Because we knew it was going to be intense. Especially, I knew this weed part, you was going to have something for, man. It's like, boy. But yeah, thank you for coming.
It was fun. I enjoyed myself, as per usual.
I'm sure we'll see you again on the sofas. And that's us. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.